My wife tossed me divorce papers on Christmas. Then her parents cheered finally. But when she opened my gift, her smirk disappeared. Because inside she found this. All right, Reddit. My wife served me divorce papers at Christmas dinner thinking she's humiliating me. But it backfired when she opened my gift. This is going to be a long ride. But trust me, it's worth it. Before I get to the Christmas Day bomb, let me paint you a picture of how this whole shit show started. 8 years ago, I, 32 male, thought I had life figured out. Fresh out of trade school, making decent money as an electrician, had my whole blueprint mapped out. Build the business, find a good woman, buy a house, maybe some kids. Simple plan for a simple guy. Met Shay, 31 male, at my buddy's barbecue. She was that girl. You know the type. Blonde, smart, had this laugh that made you want to tell jokes just to hear it again. Marketing degree, working on her master's in psychology. The first date was supposed to be drinks. Turned into one of those all-night conversations where you solve the world's problems and realize you've got something real. She made me feel like the most interesting guy in the room. Fast forward 2 years, we're living together. Everything's perfect. I'm busting my ass building my electrical contracting business. She's finishing school. Classic partnership. I handle the real world. She makes everything fun. Year 3, I proposed. Did the whole thing right. Ring she'd been hinting about. Romantic dinner at the place we met. She cried, said yes, and posted it everywhere. Her family had opinions about their college princess marrying a tradesman, but Shay shut that down quick. Told them I was building something real while guys her age were still figuring out which video game to play. Wedding was year 4. Big church ceremony, reception at some country club her parents picked. This is where Justin enters the story. He's married to Shay's sister Sloane, and he was in the wedding party. Quick time out about Justin. Picture every douchebag from business school who thinks he's the next Elon Musk. Always talking about his revolutionary startup, drives a BMW he can barely afford, wears those designer sneakers that cost more than most people's rent, calls everyone chief, and has crypto opinions nobody asked for. But he's family, so I played nice. Years 5 through 7 were the golden age. Bought our dream house, nice colonial with the white picket fence fantasy. Business was booming. I had 8 guys working for me. Clients were lining up. Put Shay through grad school debt-free, paid for her car, her trips with the girls, even started doing free electrical work for her parents because you're so handy. Every Sunday was family dinner at her parents' place. Same dining room where everything would eventually explode. I'd listen to her dad's political rants, her mom's neighbor gossip, watch Justin show up with Sloane and their kids to play perfect family man. Looking back, I can see the signs. How her face lit up when Justin walked in. How she laughed too hard at his weak jokes. How she always found excuses to help in the kitchen when he was around. But I was focused on our future. Working 60-hour weeks, growing the business, being the provider. Thought I was building something solid. Turns out I was just funding my wife's midlife crisis. Year 8, things started feeling off. Nothing obvious. Just this weird vibe. Shay became distant, critical. Started saying I worked too much. Didn't appreciate what I had. Maybe we needed to explore what we really wanted. I figured it was normal marriage stuff. Every couple hits rough patches. Maybe we needed a vacation or counseling. The irony's killing me. 6 months before Christmas, the universe started sending me warning signs with all the subtlety of a brick through a window. Problem was, I was still living in the fantasy where my wife actually loved me. First sign, the phone situation. For 7 years, Shay's phone was community property. She'd toss it to me for photos, leave it on the counter charging, never cared if I saw her texts. We knew each other's passwords because that's what married people do. Then boom, passcode city. Since when do you have a lock on your phone? I asked one morning. Can a woman have some privacy? Real defensive, real quick. Sure, just seemed random. I'm planning your birthday surprise. Don't want you accidentally seeing anything. My birthday's in April. This was October. But hey, 6 months of birthday planning for what turned out to be a $50 Home Depot gift card. Real thoughtful. Next came the girls' nights. Shay's crew, Maria, Jessica, and Claire, used to meet maybe twice a month for wine and complaints about their husbands. Normal suburban mom stuff. Suddenly it's every weekend. And now they're too drunk to drive. So she's staying overnight at Maria's place. Every single weekend. You trust me, right? Became her favorite question. Of course I trust you. Good. Because I need this? Work's been really stressful lately. Work's been stressful. She works in marketing for a dental practice. Unless someone's having a root canal emergency, I'm pretty sure it's not that stressful. The credit card statements were what really got my attention. I handle our finances because I'm good with numbers, and Shay hates boring money stuff. Usually just scan through to make sure nothing's weird. That's when I started seeing charges that didn't make sense. Hotels downtown on nights she was supposedly at Maria's. Dinners for two at restaurants I'd never heard of. Shopping sprees that seemed excessive for book club gifts. The real kicker was the same hotel charge, Marriott downtown, every Saturday for 6 weeks straight. Either Maria moved into a hotel room, or my wife was lying through her teeth. Hey babe, what's this hotel charge? Thought you stayed at Maria's? She didn't even look up from her laptop. Maria's roommate situation got weird. Just easier to get a room. That's when I decided to have an adult conversation about what I was seeing. Sunday morning, she's drinking coffee in bed, scrolling through Instagram. Shay, can we talk about something? Sure, what's up? I've been noticing some stuff lately. The phone thing, all these overnight stays, charges I don't recognize. Immediate defensive mode. Are you seriously questioning me right now? I'm not questioning anything. I handle our money, remember? I see everything anyway. So what? You don't trust me now? I'm just saying things feel different. You're gone every weekend. Jesus Christ, she said, throwing off the covers. I can't have one night out with my friends without you turning it into some paranoid conspiracy. Every weekend isn't one night out, Shay. You know what? Maybe if you paid half as much attention to me as you do to those credit card statements, I wouldn't need girls' nights so much. Classic move. Make it my fault. I work my ass off for us. For this house, this life we built, and I'm supposed to just sit here and be grateful? Never have fun? Never go anywhere? That's not what I'm saying. That's exactly what you're saying. You want some 1950s housewife who just waits around for you to come home. She stormed out. Conversation over. But her reaction told me everything I needed to know. Innocent people don't get that defensive that fast. October and November, I started paying real attention. Taking mental notes, checking stories against receipts, looking for patterns. The patterns were obvious once I looked. Every Saturday hotel stay was followed by a Sunday, where she'd come home late, shower immediately, then be extra nice. Coffee in bed, movie suggestions, sudden interest in my work schedule. When's your next big job? Became a regular question. Thanksgiving was the final straw. We're at her parents' house, same dining room table that would later become ground zero. I'm listening to Justin explain some crypto bullshit when his phone keeps buzzing. Every buzz, he glances toward the kitchen, where the women are cleaning up. Fourth buzz, he steps outside for a business call. 2 minutes later, Shay comes back looking flushed. Maria's having drama with her boyfriend. I should probably go help. I watched Justin through the window. He wasn't talking, he was texting. I'll drive you, I offered. No need. Stay for pie. I'll just take an Uber. An Uber. To help with relationship drama. At 3 p.m. on Thanksgiving. That night, I made a decision. Either I was losing my mind, or my wife was screwing her sister's husband. Time to find out which. I couldn't hire some $200 an hour private investigator. But I had something better. My buddy Silas, and absolutely zero moral restraint when it comes to cheating wives. Silas has been my best friend since trade school. Guy's got no filter, a pickup truck, and watches too much true crime TV. When I told him what I suspected, his response was peak Silas. No freaking way. Justin? That crypto bro douchebag? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Well, shit, man. Operation Catch a Cheater is officially active. We started simple. First Saturday, Silas and I grabbed coffee and drove by the Marriott around noon. Nothing suspicious. Second weekend, same thing. I was starting to think maybe I was being paranoid. Third weekend, jackpot. Silas brought donuts like we were cops on a stakeout. This feels very CSI, he said, adjusting his mirrors. Except we're catching adultery, not murder. 12:45 p.m. Justin's BMW pulls into the parking garage. My wife gets out of the passenger side wearing the black dress I bought her for our anniversary. They weren't even trying to hide it. Holy shit, Silas whispered. There's your smoking gun. Get pictures. Silas had borrowed a camera with a long lens from his cousin who does wedding photography. Started snapping away like TMZ. Got shots of them walking in together, his hand on her lower back, the way she laughed at something he said. They look real comfortable, Silas muttered. Too comfortable. We waited in the truck for 3 hours. Around 4 p.m., they came back to the parking garage. That's when we hit the lottery. These two idiots started making out against his car like teenagers. It was disgusting and perfect evidence all rolled into one. Jesus, Silas said, still taking pictures. Your wife's really going for it. Ex-wife, I corrected him. We followed this routine for 3 more weekends. Same pattern every time. Parking garage, hotel check-in, lunch at the bar, back to the room. They had it down to a science. But I wasn't satisfied with just photos. I remembered something. Years ago, Shay had set up a Gmail account for a work project. She'd forgotten about it, but it was still synced to our desktop in the spare room. I'd seen notifications pop up occasionally, but never paid attention. That Tuesday night, while Shay was at her book club, I fired up the computer. Bingo. Months of messages between a Gmail account I didn't recognize and Shay's old email. The Gmail was definitely Justin. Same pretentious writing style as his LinkedIn posts. They documented everything. And I mean everything. 8 months of affair planning, complaining about their spouses, describing their hotel adventures in detail I could have lived without. But it wasn't just sexting. They were planning their entire future together. December 10th. Justin. Saturday can't come soon enough. Got our usual room. Shay. Perfect. Told him I'm helping Maria with Christmas shopping. Justin. How much longer can we keep this up? Shay. Until we figure out the exit plan. December 15th. Shay. Think Sloane's getting suspicious? Justin. Nah, she's too busy with the kids and Christmas prep. We're good. Shay. I feel bad sometimes. Justin. Don't. We deserve happiness. They'll understand eventually. December 18th. Justin. Been thinking about timing. New Year's? Fresh start vibes. Shay. So cliché. What about after holidays? Less drama. Justin. Or Christmas dinner. Everyone together, rip the Band-Aid off. Shay. That's cruel. Justin. Sometimes cruel is honest. Quick and clean. They were planning to blow up both families at Christmas dinner. How festive. I spent the next days printing everything. Silas helped me organize it chronologically, building a timeline that showed exactly how their relationship developed. Screenshots, printed emails, backup copies on 3 different USB drives. The financial evidence was what really sealed their fate. Silas and I went through every credit card statement from the past 6 months. Every hotel charge, every dinner, every shopping spree that didn't come home to me. We built a spreadsheet showing $12,000 of our money spent on her affair. Look at this shit, Silas said, pointing at a Victoria's Secret charge. $300. When's the last time you saw her in new lingerie? I haven't. Right. She's buying screw-me outfits for her boyfriend with your credit card. We also discovered Justin's financial situation. Silas ran a background check and did some digging. Turns out this asshole was using company credit cards for personal expenses. Not just hotels with my wife, but groceries, gas, even his BMW payments. By December 20th, we had everything. Photos, messages, financial records, timeline documentation, even evidence of Justin's embezzlement. Silas helped me organize it all into folders, ready for whatever came next. They documented their affair, their lies, their plans to humiliate me. All I had to do was let them hang themselves with their own rope. Time to start planning my response. Once I had the evidence, I had a choice. Go caveman. Kick down doors, throw punches, end up in county lockup. Very satisfying, completely stupid. Or I could be strategic. Use their arrogance against them. Let them think they were in control while I built the perfect trap. Guess which one I chose. First priority, protect my assets. Everything we'd built was about to become a war zone, and I wasn't letting this cheating bitch walk away with half my life's work. The house was priority number 1. Our colonial that I'd bought with my money, my down payment, my mortgage payments. Legally, it was marital property, which meant she could claim half in divorce court. I called my buddy Tom, who handles real estate for contractors. I've done electrical work for him for years, wired his office building for basically cost. Tom, need some advice on asset protection. Heard you can do creative stuff with trusts. What kind of situation? The kind where I might need to keep what's mine actually mine. Ah, yeah, I can help. Tom explained I could set up a family trust with my sister as trustee. Completely legal, happens all the time for tax planning. Once assets were in the trust, they weren't marital property anymore. They belonged to the trust, not me personally. But here's the catch. I needed Shay's signature. How do I get her to sign without raising flags? Tell her it's for tax optimization. People will sign anything if they think it'll save money. So I told her it was for tax purposes, that we'd save thousands in property taxes if we restructured the ownership through a family trust. She signed without reading because she trusts me with the boring financial stuff. Next, I quietly started moving liquid assets. Opened accounts at different banks, ones she'd never heard of. Started transferring money in small amounts. $2,000 here, $3,500 there. Told her I was diversifying our emergency fund for better FDIC coverage. The cars were trickier. My work truck was already mine, but her Honda was joint. Tom helped me restructure that too. Created a loan where the trust loaned her money for the car, making her responsible for payments while the trust held the title. Why more paperwork for my car? Insurance restructuring. Our agent thinks we can save money if the vehicles are organized differently. Another signature without reading. Every document she signed, I was building a fortress around everything I'd earned. Because here's the thing about my state. It's a fault state, meaning courts consider who caused the divorce when dividing assets. Adultery plus theft of marital funds equals very bad news for the cheating spouse. I also restructured my business. Called my accountant, told him I wanted to change from sole proprietorship to LLC for liability protection. Created Elite Electrical Solutions LLC with ownership structures that made my stake harder to calculate in divorce court. Updated all contracts, vendor relationships, business credit cards. If Shay wanted to go after my business, she'd have to untangle corporate structures that would cost more in legal fees than it was worth. The Justin situation needed a different approach. Silas's computer skills came in handy here. We spent hours researching his company, looking for weaknesses. Justin's startup was shakier than a house of cards, funded by investors who'd put in about $1.5 million based on promises of revolutionary AI technology. But when Silas dug into their actual products, it was mostly smoke and mirrors, fancy presentations with no real tech behind them. More importantly, Justin had been systematically stealing company funds. We found evidence of personal charges going back over a year, grocery shopping, gas, car payments, even vacation rentals. This wasn't just hotel rooms with my wife. This was a pattern of embezzlement. Silas printed everything: bank statements, credit card records, expense reports. We organized it chronologically, showing how Justin's personal spending increased right when his affair with Shay started. "This guy's looking at felony charges," Silas said, highlighting an expense report. "Using corporate cards for personal stuff is textbook embezzlement." How much total? Close to $30,000 over 15 months. That's serious prison time. I also updated my estate planning, changed beneficiaries on life insurance, updated my will, made sure if anything happened to me, Shay wouldn't see a penny. Everything would go to my sister, with instructions to fight any claims from my estranged wife. The psychological warfare was just as important. I had to play the loving husband while preparing for total war. Every morning, kiss goodbye. Every evening, ask about her day and listen to lies with a straight face. The hardest part was Christmas shopping. I had to buy gifts, wrap them, and act excited about our future, all while knowing that by New Year's, she'd be homeless. By Christmas Eve, I had everything ready. Silas helped me organize the final packages. For Shay, complete evidence file. Every photo, every message, every receipt. The full story of her affair, documented and indexed. For Justin, copies of his embezzlement evidence, ready to mail to his boss, the district attorney, and the IRS. For Sloan, her own evidence folder showing exactly what her husband had been doing. For her parents, summary explaining how their daughter had been lying to everyone for 8 months. I also prepared backup plans. If Shay didn't serve papers at Christmas, I had my own divorce petition ready for December 26th. If she tried to claim abuse, I had documentation of her systematic deception. If Justin tried to destroy evidence, Silas had already sent anonymous tips to his company. Christmas morning felt like sitting on a bomb with a timer I couldn't see. Walking into that house with wrapped presents, knowing I was about to orchestrate the most beautiful destruction in family history. Her dad was already working on his second drink, watching some meaningless bowl game. Her mom was in the kitchen, stress cooking like Christmas dinner was a competitive sport. Justin arrived with Sloan and their kids around 2 p.m., playing perfect family. Sloan was chasing their boys around, trying to keep them from breaking anything expensive. And Shay, my lying, cheating wife sitting across from me, fidgeting with her napkin like she was defusing a bomb, which in a way she was about to set off. Her parents kept making passive-aggressive comments about my work like they always did. "Must be nice to finally take a day off," her mom said. "Shay says you're always so busy." "Business is good," I replied. "Can't complain about steady work." Justin jumped in with his usual bullshit. "That's the blue-collar trap, man. Always grinding, never living." "Some of us work for what we have," I said, looking him dead in the eye. He shifted uncomfortably. Dinner was torture. Shay kept checking her phone like she was expecting an important call. Her mom was gossiping about neighbors nobody cared about. Her dad was explaining football rules to kids too young to understand. Around 4 p.m. after dessert, Shay finally stood up. "Actually," she said, standing up with shaking hands, "I have something I need to give everyone." The room went quiet. all eyes on her like she was about to announce a pregnancy. Her mom looked confused. Honey, we already did presents. This is different, Shay said, reaching into her purse. She pulled out a red envelope, hands visibly trembling, slid it across the table. What's this? I asked, playing dumb. Merry Christmas, Silas. She grinned. Her family was watching, sensing drama but not understanding what. I opened the envelope slowly, pulled out legal documents, read the header aloud. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Dead silence. Then her mom actually smiled. Oh, thank goodness, finally. That's when I realized this wasn't just Shay's plan. Her whole family had been waiting for this. They'd been expecting it, maybe even encouraging it. Her dad nodded like I'd just announced the weather. About time. Justin started grinning behind his drink. Sloane looked completely lost. Wait, what's happening? Shay's leaving him, her mom announced, like she was revealing Christmas morning surprises. That's when I started smiling. The whole situation was so perfectly screwed that it was almost beautiful. You should open your gift too. I pointed to the small wrapped box under the tree that I'd placed there that morning. Her confidence was evaporating. This wasn't in her script. Her family looked confused because why would I bring a gift if I knew about divorce papers? She walked to the tree on unsteady legs, picked up the box, came back to the table, opened it with trembling hands. The color drained from her face completely. Inside were printed photos. Her and Justin making out in parking garages, walking into hotels hand in hand, him groping her against his car. Under the photos were USB drives labeled text messages, financial records, and hotel receipts. Her mom dropped her glass. It shattered. Her dad started choking on his drink. Justin went white as fresh snow. Sloane looked at the photos, then at her husband, then back at the photos. What the hell is this? Time for my Oscar moment. Well, I said, addressing the room like I was giving a presentation. Since we're doing family announcements, figured you should all know that your daughter's been screwing her sister's husband for 8 months. Instant chaos. Her mom started hyperventilating. Her dad started swearing. Sloane grabbed the photos and started flipping through them, her face getting redder with each image. That she's been using our credit cards to pay for hotel rooms where they play house. Justin tried to interrupt. Look, this isn't... And that your son-in-law here, I continued, pointing at Justin, has been using his company's credit cards to fund the whole operation, which, fun fact, is felony embezzlement. Sloane started screaming at Justin. The kids started crying because Mommy was yelling. Her parents looked like they'd aged a decade in 30 seconds. I already sent copies to his boss and the district attorney, I added. Merry Christmas, asshole. Justin looked like he was about to throw up. But wait, there's more, I said, turning back to Shay. Remember those boring tax documents you signed? Turns out you don't own the house anymore. Or the cars. Or basically anything, actually. Funny how trust documents work when you don't read them. That's when Shay found her voice. You can't do this. Those signatures. That's fraud. You tricked me. Actually, it's not. Everything was legal and properly disclosed. You signed papers transferring assets to a family trust for tax optimization. Your lawyer can explain how trusts work. I'll fight this. I'll take you for everything. With what money? You maxed out credit cards on hotel rooms. You're about to be unemployed when your company finds out. And you owe me restitution for the $12,000 you stole from our marriage. The room erupted in shouting. Sloane screaming at Justin, him trying to explain, her parents yelling at Shay, kids crying louder. I grabbed my coat and headed for the door. Where are you going? Shay shouted. Home? Well, my home. You'll need to figure out somewhere else to stay. And I walked out, leaving behind the most beautiful chaos I'd ever created. Sat in my truck for a minute, listening to the screaming through the windows, and started laughing. 8 months of planning, and it couldn't have gone better. My phone started buzzing before I hit the street. The first week after nuclear Christmas was like watching a controlled demolition in slow motion. I'm holed up at my sister's place with a drink, monitoring the destruction from a safe distance. Let me walk you through the beautiful carnage, because this shit is more entertaining than anything on TV. The legal destruction. Monday morning, 9 a.m. sharp, I filed my counterpetition. Adultery with photographic evidence, dissipation of marital assets with financial proof, the whole arsenal. My lawyer said it was the most airtight adultery case he'd seen in 20 years. Shay hired some downtown firm, probably with money she borrowed from her parents. They tried claiming she was seeking personal fulfillment in an emotionally distant marriage, and that I was being vindictively punitive. Good luck selling that story when you've got photos of their client with her tongue down her brother-in-law's throat. The judge was not impressed. especially when we presented financial evidence showing $12,000 of marital funds spent on her affair. In our state, that's not just cheating, that's theft. The house? Untouchable in the family trust. Cars? Same deal. Bank accounts? What bank accounts? As far as the court knows, I'm just a heartbroken electrician whose cheating wife cleaned him out. Her lawyer tried challenging the asset transfers, claiming I'd hidden marital property. But every signature was legitimate, every document properly notarized, and Shay signed everything willingly. Hard to claim fraud when your client enthusiastically signed papers to save on taxes. Justin's professional bomb. The embezzlement evidence hit like a guided missile. Monday afternoon, Justin got called into his boss's office. By 4 p.m., he was walking out with a cardboard box and unemployment papers. But it gets better. His company didn't just fire him, they terminated him for cause, which means no severance, no benefits, no health insurance. They're also pursuing criminal charges for $28,000 in fraudulent expenses over 14 months. The DA's office practically salivated over the case. Corporate credit card fraud is prosecutors' candy, especially when those expenses include affair hotels. His equity in the company? Gone. Stock options? Forfeited. That IPO he was always bragging about? Moving forward without him, and his former partners are making sure everyone knows why. But here's the cherry on top. His company's suing him personally for reimbursement. That means they're coming after his house, his car, anything not nailed down. Sloane's revenge tour. Sloane turned out to be the MVP of this whole disaster. Christmas night, while Justin was trying to explain away photos of him groping her sister, Sloane was already on the phone with a divorce attorney. Filed papers Tuesday morning with a strategy that was pure genius. Full custody, maximum alimony, half of everything, plus emotional distress damages for adultery. But Sloane didn't stop there. She went full scorched earth on Justin's reputation, posted a carefully worded Facebook announcement about discovering my husband's affair that got shared 2,000 times in 48 hours. Sent evidence to his parents, his friends, his college buddies. The man's social life is officially dead. Sloane also got smart about money. Before Justin knew what hit him, she'd frozen joint accounts, canceled his credit cards, filed for emergency support. By Tuesday, he couldn't buy lunch without borrowing money. Shay's parents are in full crisis mode. Her mom's been calling me nonstop, alternating between begging and threatening. "Please think about the family," she said in one voicemail. Mistakes were made, but this doesn't have to destroy everyone. Mistakes were made. Like their daughter accidentally tripped and landed on her brother-in-law's dick for 8 months. Her dad showed up at my shop Tuesday, wanting to work this out man to man. Told him the only conversation I wanted involved his daughter paying back what she stole. "She's still my daughter," he said. "And she's still a thief and a cheater," I replied. Shay's spectacular fall. This is where it gets really satisfying. That confidence she had sliding divorce papers across the table? Completely gone. She's back in her childhood bedroom because she literally has nowhere else to go. Can't afford an apartment because all our money is in accounts she can't access. Can't get credit because her income was tied to our joint finances. Her job situation is even worse. Her marketing firm has a conduct clause in employment contracts. When word got out about the affair drama, her boss called her in for a discussion. "We handle reputation management," her boss allegedly said. "Hard to manage other people's reputations when you can't manage your own." She's on administrative leave while they evaluate the situation. Translation: they're figuring out how to fire her without a lawsuit. The social isolation is brutal. Her friends group imploded. Even Maria and Jessica got tired of the drama and constant money requests. She's basically a ghost in her own hometown. My business boom. Ironically, this whole clusterfuck has been great for Elite Electrical. Word travels fast in contractor circles, and apparently being the wronged party in a cheating scandal is excellent marketing. Every electrician, plumber, and contractor in town knows the story. They're all sending referrals. Support the guy who handled his business right, seems to be the general sentiment. I've booked more work in a week than I usually get in a month. My phone's been a battlefield. In 48 hours, I got 47 missed calls from Shay, 23 text messages ranging from begging to threatening, 12 voicemails cycling through denial, anger, bargaining, and depression, calls from her parents, mutual friends, and Justin. The evolution of Shay's messages has been fascinating. Started with denial. "This is all a misunderstanding." Moved to anger. "You're a vindictive asshole." Then bargaining. "We can work through this." And finally acceptance. Radio silence since Thursday. What's next? Divorce proceedings will take months, but the outcome's predetermined. I've got evidence, protected assets, and moral high ground. Shay's got debt, unemployment, and a family ashamed of her. Justin's looking at 12 to 18 months in county jail if convicted, which seems likely. His civil cases will drain whatever assets prison doesn't cost him. Sloane's talking about moving back to her hometown with the kids. Fresh start, away from the chaos. And me? I'm focusing on the business. Maybe hiring more guys. The funniest part is how easily this could have been avoided. If Shay wanted out, she could have asked for divorce honestly and walked away with dignity and half our assets. Instead, she got greedy, got stupid, and got obliterated. She wanted to embarrass me in front of her family. Instead, she made herself the family disappointment for generations. Sometimes karma needs assistance. Sometimes you have to be your own justice. And sometimes, if you're patient and methodical enough, you can turn other people's worst decisions into your greatest victory. 4 months later, the dust has settled, and let me tell you, justice tastes better than Christmas dinner. The divorce finalization got the final decree 2 weeks ago. Everything went exactly as planned. She got exactly what she earned. Nothing. Final settlement. I keep the house, the business, all trust assets. Plus, she owes me $24,000 in restitution for stolen marital funds. Original $12,000 plus damages. Her lawyer tried one last desperate move, claiming financial hardship, but Judge Morrison wasn't interested. Actions have consequences, counselor. Your client understood this when she chose to fund her affair with marital assets, he said. Guy's been on the bench for 15 years and has zero patience for cheating spouses. Shay's total legal fees, $31,000. Money she doesn't have for a case she never could have won. Her parents had to take a second mortgage to pay her lawyer. Justin's complete annihilation. Remember our boy Justin? Life's been real interesting for him. He pled guilty to embezzlement in February. Got 14 months in county plus 3 years probation. Could have been worse, but his lawyer negotiated down by claiming emotional distress from divorce proceedings. The civil cases were more brutal. His former company got a $67,000 judgment, original theft plus interest and legal fees. They seized his house, his car, his bank accounts, even his golf clubs. Man's got nothing but the orange jumpsuit they issued in lockup. Sloane's divorce went through in January. She got full custody, the remaining house equity, and alimony payments Justin will be making from prison wages. 17 cents an hour doesn't go far, but every penny counts. Best part? Justin's startup folded after his arrest. Turns out when your CFO gets busted for embezzlement, investors lose confidence fast. All those grandiose plans for revolutionary AI died with his criminal record. Shay's rock bottom. But Shay's story is the real masterpiece. Lost her job officially in January when the firm's evaluation concluded she was no longer suitable for client-facing roles. She's been living with her parents for 4 months, sleeping in her teenage bedroom with the same boy band posters from high school. Her mom complains constantly, according to neighborhood gossip that gets back to me through Silas's drinking buddies. Tried getting work at marketing firms around town. Word travels fast in professional circles, especially when your personal drama involves criminal charges. Nobody wants to hire the woman who funded an affair with embezzled money. She's currently part-time at Target, making $13 an hour. The same store where she used to drop hundreds of outfits for her affair dates. Irony so thick you could cut it with a knife. The final encounter happened last Friday. I'm at Home Depot grabbing supplies when guess who's working customer service? Shay. In a red vest, looking like she hasn't slept in weeks. She saw me before I saw her. When I walked to the electrical section, she was waiting. Can we talk? She asked, glancing around like she was embarrassed to be seen. We're talking now, I said, not stopping to browse wire nuts. I mean really talk. About us. I stopped and looked at her. Really looked. 4 months of consequences had not been kind. She looked exhausted, defeated, like someone who'd finally realized how badly she'd screwed up. What about us? Last I checked, you served me divorce papers and tried to humiliate me. I made mistakes. You made choices, I corrected. Big difference. I've been thinking about what we had, what we could have again. That's when I started laughing. You for real? After you screwed your sister's husband for 8 months? After you stole from our marriage? After you tried to destroy me in front of your family? People change. I've learned, oh, what have you learned? That I had a good life and threw it away for nothing. She looked down at her red vest, at the customers walking past us, at the life she'd built through pure stupidity. I know I don't deserve another chance. You're right, you don't. We were good together once. Past tense. I can make this right. With what? You're working retail for $13 an hour. You owe me $24,000. What exactly are you going to make right? The hope in her eyes died right there. So that's it? You won't even consider? Lady, I wouldn't take you back if you were the last woman on earth. You're a liar, a cheat, and a thief. Those aren't mistakes. Those are character traits. I grabbed my supplies and headed for the checkout. You used to love me, she called after me. I stopped and turned around one last time. I used to love who I thought you were. Got a text from her new number that night. I'm sorry for everything. I hope you can forgive me someday. I deleted it and blocked her without responding. Some mistakes can't be forgiven. Some bridges can't be rebuilt. Shay made her choices. Now she lives with those choices forever. Game over. I won.